Hello and welcome to the Art Hitman. I'm Perry McCants and today I'm going to show you how to draw clothes. So for this exercise is going to be a vertical setup as opposed to horizontal, or portrait versus landscape. So this is going to be a portrait, and the reason being so we can get the entire figure on the page. So let's go ahead and divide that page in half lightly. And please help me get 10 likes and 10 comments for these how to draw videos. Now, what I want to do is start out in the beginning by drawing a mannequin or a figure so that we can have something to put clothes on, or a figure or character to kind of put clothes on, so that way we have something to go on. So what I'm going to do for this portion is I'm going to time lapse, and that way we begin learning how to dress the figure. Okay, now that I have our mannequins lightly sketched out, when I'm working on putting clothing on characters, the first thing I always do is draw a mannequin figure in first, very lightly. If you notice, I didn't go heavy at all. I have everything in place the way I want it, and the top of his head is not completed for a reason. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that first. Our character here is a very simplistic character. He's going to have a baseball cap on. So the first thing you do is you kind of put a border at the top of his head here, close it off like this. And then basically with a baseball cap, it has a brim on the front. The brim is going to come up on an angle as you see me doing here. And then it tapers over and it goes off the side of the head like this. And it's just a stylized way of wearing a baseball cap, and it adds a little bit of fashion to it. And so let's bring this around for the top portion of the hat. You simply want to just come up on the side here, come to the center line, and then come down on the other side. Now you can draw through this brim here. If you notice, I put a light line through that, so that way you can kind of gauge whether it matches from right to left, and it looks good. In the front, you can put a pleated line, and then you can put a pleated line on the side of the baseball cap. Now, for the rest of the figure, he's going to be, of course, I have him wearing multi-layers, so this kind of shows you how to apply layers of clothes. So the first thing you want to do is let's go ahead on and put a border that comes down from around behind his neck like this. And we're going to come into the body and stop right just where his waist is. I'll show you where the waist is. Repeat the same thing for his left side. It's just a simple line that comes in and curves down just like this. And his first layer is going to be a button-down shirt. So it has a collar to it, so we're going to raise it just above the where the neckline is, and in between the chin line. Bring that down, and then we'll bring that collar in, just like that. And repeat the same thing on his left side. Underneath this, he's wearing a t-shirt, so we're going to go ahead and put a border, or let's say the base of his neck, which is the pit of the shoulder. And as the pit of the shoulder come into the chest blade here, and it goes to the other side here. And he's not totally muscular because he's in the teenage years, so he's not super developed. And okay, so outside of the shirt, he's wearing a jacket. So right underneath where the collar is, we're going to bring the edge of the jacket line in just over top of this. So what you want to do is create a slight border in between these two lines here. One overlaps the other. His jacket stops above this end of the shirt here. So it's going to come about where his waist is. If you see, I have a light line here, and you can continue that over like this, and the same thing with the other side. Come down underneath the collar, out and around, and then stop. Bring this line over. Now it's like a map. So whenever you're putting clothing on a figure, you have an understanding of how to apply it by how you're going to lay it over top of what's sketched out. Notice here I have him kind of like in the posture of his hands in his pocket, because that's the way I want him to be posed. So let's go ahead and put the shoulder of the jacket in. It's going to go on a slant like this. And if you notice with this circle I have here, you want to go around that, and the jacket's going to fall just off of what I created with the border of his mechanical structure here. Bring this line in and then stop right there. We're going to repeat the same thing for the other side so that it matches. Right here where the circle is, let the jacket, outside the jacket, fall to his elbow, and stop it right here. Now we could begin to build the jacket and what it looks like, what fabric it looks like over the shoulder. So first you want to create a stitch line over the circle. Repeat the same thing on his left side. Stop it there. Notice where the bottom of this circle is the indication of the armpit and where his chest would be. So we're going to take a line that kind of flexes in and over, and it creates the outside border of the jacket. We're going to stop it right there. We're going to repeat the same process on the left side the same way. Cut in and go over and come down. And they always leave a little space in between everything. We notice I have a space in between here and here. Now for his arms, it creates layers that come from the outside. So first we have this coming here. Next we have in between the shoulder is going to come around like this and go into the body. And it's going to come down right before it gets to the bend of the crease of the forearm. The forearm is going to have a line that comes down like this and it stops right here. I'm going to move out of the way. Now I'm going to go to the other side, repeat what I just did here. Because it's actually, you try to make it as symmetrical as possible because he's actually got both arms and the jacket. And then you want to do the same thing here with the elbow. Now once you have this established, you're going to come from actually the elbow up and over like this, and it comes straight across, because this creates actually where the actual wrist part of the jacket, and you're gonna have another line come under like this. So you're gonna come over and then under. And here you're gonna just create a jacket border, which is for the wrist right here. And then you're gonna create a pocket just like this and cut this part off. And then create another border for the pocket. And then what you wanna do at that point is you're gonna have the end of the jacket bulge out a little bit, and then put the end of the jacket on, just like this. You want to repeat the same thing for his left arm. So you're gonna come from the corner here, cross it over, and then create a border for where the wrist is gonna be for his jacket, and then put a pocket right there, and match this side, just like that. And then the wrist part's gonna come out and wrap around, and a little portion of it's gonna come under like that. Okay, so if you notice already, we kind of have the jacket shape going on here, and he's putting his arms in his pocket, and we're gonna create the outside of the left side of the jacket, come down at the bottom, and then put the border of the jacket in, just like this. Now, we have his jacket and almost upper body done, so let's go ahead and put that t-shirt in. We don't want him to be bare chested, so let's go ahead and create a border for the t-shirt just like this, and notice it's the two U shapes, real simple. 1, 2, t-shirt's done. And of course it's outside t-shirts, and I'm gonna add a little pocket right there, just like that. Now what's gonna happen down here, we'll move down a little bit, and we're gonna create the bottom of his shirt. His shirt's gonna come down like this. It's gonna come out a little bit underneath this jacket. If you notice, I left a little border here, and then here we have the other outside of his button-down shirt come over, and repeat the same thing for the other side. And bring that over just like this. Now that t-shirt that we drew is gonna extend past that a little bit because he likes to wear his t-shirts a little bigger and a little long. So we have it come down like this. Close it off, and then underneath the back, if you notice I have legs in here, the back of his t-shirt is going to come behind like this. We're going to close that off on his legs. Now, what we're going to do is put little rivets here for the end of the jacket, and then stop right there for the zipper line. Do the same thing for his left side. And then we're going to go ahead and put a zipper line in on the upper part of the jacket, add a little detail here. Do the same thing for the left side. And then his shoulder has a stitch border that goes over like this. Just add a little bit of style to the jacket. And I want to put a pocket on the outside of his left arm, just like this. You have a square that I drew on top of that. And then you want to put another square underneath that to create the pocket. And add another fold here. Now, we're gonna go ahead and move down to his jeans. He's gonna be wearing skinny jeans, so what you wanna do when you're drawing a guy or a character like this and he has on jeans, we want to get into the folds around the knees and ankles. So the skinny jeans kind of going to be straight. They don't have too much breathing space, so they're kind of tight. So you want to come down right where about the knee is and bring a line into the center of the knee where the circle is, because everything extends out from the circle. And you want to create another pocket here, and you want to bring that down the same way I just did with this one. Then you have the last one that comes out, and he's going to come down straight like this, almost to his ankle here. And it bunches up around the ankle line, so you want to have a line come in and out and around like this and stop right here, because we're going to put some Timberland boots in. Now we're going to come to the inside of the jeans, and it's going to bow just a little bit, just add a little bit of flexion. Come in like this. It's kind of repeating the same thing as it did on the outside. Come around like this one more time. Come straight down. You want to come around like this to the outside. And then stop right here because it bunches up at the top of where the boot is. Now we repeat the same thing for his left leg. Come down. Have a line that comes in and out around. Okay. Always reference this circle here because that's kind of where everything's going. Do the same thing. Let it come down like this. Out of that, we're going to come down to the bottom portion of the pant leg. Come around. In, and then stop it right here about where the boot's going to be. Do the outside of the pant leg. And repeat the same process. It's just a little lower on the side into the kneecap. And around. And you're going to come straight down like this on the outside. And then he has one flexion here and then one more just before the boot. Now, I wanted to add a little bit of rips in the jeans. So on the left leg, go ahead and put a line here. Come around like this, and just adding a little bit of character and difference to the jeans. Usually when you draw jeans, they're just plain and all of the jeans look the same. So you want to add a little bit of a characteristic to him by putting a rip in the jean, just like that. And then you could be creative, and honestly you could put rips where you want, but this is just where I decided to have the one up here on the left leg, and down here on the right leg I have one down here, and then kind of just before the bottom of the pant leg. Now we're gonna go back in and add a little loop like this, because these are folds and they kind of crease back in on themselves. And then at the bottom, you want to bring just a little line up like this, and the line that comes into the leg like that. And same thing on the other side. You kind of check and see where you want little extra folds and stuff to go, and it's at your disclosure. And come in just like this. Now we're down to where his boots are for the boots. Now I'll take you and show you exactly how it should go. So you want to start with the tongue of a Timberland boot. And you stop it right here. Notice I have a circle for the ankle. Just cut that tongue out there. And just so that we don't forget or, leave out a detail, do the same thing on the left side. I often try and go back and forth between left and right so that I can remember each side and make sure it matches as much as possible. So let's go back to the right foot, and we're gonna put the edge of his boot in. It has like a little collar here. You wanna come down, and we'll create the bottom of the boot and then bring it around just like this. And always work left to right as much as you possibly can for balance. Do the same thing here. The line goes in, come out, and it creates that ankle on the boot, and then bring it down like that, and the pant leg goes back underneath behind this tongue. Same thing on this side. Now, for the outside of the boot, you can put a line just like this. For the inside, you can put a line like this, and then you can bring this line in like this here. What that's going to create is your shoestring line. Let's jump over here and do the same thing for his left leg. Line here, and create a border, and then put a line right here for the shoestring. Now as we get to the front of his boot, we're going to come down, and then we're going to have the front come around and just go back into itself. So you want the front end of the boot to come up and around and in, just like this. And then you can have the base of the boot come in, up, and then come out like this. Okay, now let's jump over here and match this side as much as possible. And to be sure, we can kind of take our two fingers here and just slide it over like this. Where my index finger is, we can create that front of the boot there and stop it right there. That way it's balanced out as much as you can possibly do it. And then you can do the same thing as in the right side. Slide your finger over and then put the base of the boot in just like that. Now we can put the border of the boot in by coming in and across, showing you how I'm doing it here, and then come underneath and make it thin here, and then make the back side of the boot or the platform of the boot right here. Repeat the same thing on the opposite side, which is the left leg. Have this line come in, over, under, and then go to the front like this. Now, for his boot itself, the shoestrings, line goes straight across the bottom. You can go up, put an X here, put another X here, and then stop it at the top. Same thing here, X. It's basically 2 X's that I have here to give it the look like the boot is tied at the top. And of course you can add a bow, lightly put a bow in if you want. Do the same thing here, and it actually just loops because the detail is so small you know you really can't see it at a certain distance. So don't never be too hung up on detail. It depends on how close the boot is to you. All right, now if you're drawing up, let me add one more line here. If you've drawn along with me up to this point, you just completely drawn this character, and we put a jacket on him, t-shirt, button-down shirt, jeans, and Timberlands, and a baseball cap. And what I'm gonna do at this point is I'm gonna clean it up, make it look all nice and neat for you. And at the end of the video, you can stop it and take a look at it.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe by clicking this round button at the bottom. Also, click one of the 2 videos at the top. Please like this video, tell a friend, and share it on Facebook. Thank you.
The Art Hitman